Hello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a bit different from my usual content. Currently, we're going to go over the Royal Rumble of 2020. And I just want to get everything straight here that I don't do strict audio. I usually just go get the camera on my ugly ass face and go over distinct, slightly vague, but constantly detailed because this is on my opinion that I thought the Royal Rumble 2020 was an entertaining. The 2020 Rumble was a entertaining mashup of nostalgia, decent wrestling, and stuff that's going to continue. The thing that I have with this year's Royal Rumble, it was great to see Edge and MVP again. The female Royal Rumble was a bit forgettable. It was a better shot of just giving maybe an established Royal Rumble winner because nobody in the women's Rumble is actually an established talent or potentially good talent to have. And I've seen that over the past several days, and it's just been really freaking boring. So let's go over it. Kickoff show had Shorty G face off against Sheamus one-on-one because they had a feud after the return of Sheamus 2 SmackDowns before the Royal Rumble. Then he came back after helping him fight off the Revival. Shorty G just got bro kicked in the face, and then they started off feuding with Sheamus then, constantly talking about the size, and it's just so generically cliche that it just went off to him pushing him off, and now they wrestle at the Rumble in the kickoff show. Now, I wasn't here, I was like during the start of the show, so I think I only saw one kickoff match, and then that was it. So, Sheamus just went off a bro kick. I think Shorty G was pretty much targeting the arm and hand so he doesn't do the Irish curse or something. They constantly still bring up his 2012 background, even though he was in a big event for WWE called the King of the Ring. Then, as soon as he countered off a moonsault, it ended with a DDT. Nearly got a 2 count off another attempt for a moonsault. He did that little roll up into a German suplex. And then Sheamus escaped the ankle lock and then hit a bro kick for the win. It seemed like a forgettable match. They rematched on SmackDown, I know, because I watched the post Rumble event. So we went into Andrade facing off against Humberto Carrillo for his first United States title defense on pay-per-view, but it's a kickoff match. And it was a good kickoff match. I had Andrade bleeding. Decent Hurricane Rana from the outside. Humberto continued using double knee strikes. Decent Hurricane Ranas. It went into a hammerlock DDT. It was a decent clean finish to just show Andrade is a dominant champion. But how many times he's going to be facing off against some Hispanic guys? It's just going to continue till then. He's been feuding with Rey Mysterio ever since. Then he went to Humberto, and it didn't really change much. So we get our first match of the show, and that would be Roman Reigns versus King Corbin in a Falls Count Anywhere match to start off the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And this show's like 4 hours fucking long, and all they need is like 4 matches, regular matches, and like 2 Rumble matches. So it's like so time-consuming to know you gotta watch 2 Royal Rumble matches, and you have to focus also on the storylines. Most of the storyline going into Roman Reigns and Corbin, I guess a dispute of who's the legit top guy on SmackDown. Ever since Baron Corbin won the King of the Ring, he's been shown like a perennial jobber. Jamie Noble has been shown more of a Hall of Fame character than Corbin. Bringing up all the accolades, he's been doing this since he had a solo run in the main event scene on Raw, the time Rollins was Universal Champion, and he's still not given as a legit heel. You give him King of the Ring, he comes around being carried out by what looks to be random security guards that we know are going to be picked up as WWE jobbers someday, and then he comes around losing to Roman Reigns numerous of times with or without Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode's help. And then it comes into this bland, basic. It ended with a spear to the dugout that somehow gave Corbin a shot. It wasn't even inside the dugout. He literally pinned him on top of the dugout with a spear. Then it came out with the Usos helping from outside near the stage when they kept brawling around the fans near a baseball stadium. Like, I never thought that was a smart idea as a venue for pro wrestling. They start fighting till then around the crowd. The Usos came in, super kicks over to Rude and Ziggler when they were coming out helping. It was such a forgettable match. They could have had this at SmackDown before the Rumble, and they could have just seen who could have went like number 30 or something. Something as big as that, because SmackDown over the past couple weeks have been boring. It's just numerous attempts to try to think it's child-friendly, corny, fake humor with minimalistic storylines that don't help out the product. Especially when you're moving to a big channel like Fox, it's not that entertaining. The XFL racked up as much ratings as the AAF, and you're telling me that people would rather see a a starting football league than a prime TV show that's been here for over 20 years. That brings up how bad your product has been, SmackDown. SmackDown Live era had problems, but at least they had intriguing yet fine matches, even though I felt like the best parts of SmackDown were just whenever Daniel Bryan was heel and the Usos matches, and sometimes the New Day segments whenever they bring up Xavier Woods can stick his dick into a vagina. Other than that, the SmackDown Live was fine. There's times when I thought it was corny, and that was the latter half 2019 when they just gave up and they were just getting ready for the draft with the, of course, wild card rule. So, what else happened? Oh God, no one really cared. Next up was the Women's Royal Rumble after the match. So, I'm gonna go through this one count to a fittest. So, it is Bianca Belair that had 8 eliminations in her first Royal Rumble, eliminating a lot of wrestlers. So, Alexa Bliss representing SmackDown. Then there was number 3, that was Molly Holly. She had like barely any eliminations. She stayed in for like, I think 20 or 30 minutes. Coming around, I think only getting like 2 eliminations. Nikki Cross came along as well, but did barely enough to feel like she was going to actually win the Rumble. It should have been like Alexa Bliss or somebody. Or like most of these women that are majority of just NXT talent or jobbers. Like, no one's gonna think Sonya Deville, Candice LeRae, Kairi Sane, Mia Yim, Dana Brooke, Tamina returned in the Royal Rumble, but she hasn't been on TV still. That she came in and did a sick-ass super kick on, I think, Dana Brooke that sold it terribly. She even sold a drop kick terribly. Dana Brooke cannot wrestle still, and yet she's given all this screen time on SmackDown. It's disgusting. SmackDown is so bad that we allow Dana Brooke to have some relevancy in some of the feuds in the women's division. And yet she comes around selling a terrible super kick and selling so fast and I think in a drop kick. They didn't even do interlubing feuds. Isn't like Candice LeRae feuding with like anybody like Dakota Kai or something after she turned heel? That it was a surprise appearance. Yes, Chelsea Green, and the only relevancy I heard that she had something to do with Zack Ryder's wedding. Then pretty much eliminated Dakota Kai because they're feuding. And then Belair just got rid of Alexa Bliss for his 7th elimination. Charlotte Flair came up at number 17. She won the Rumble because they had no other legit stars. If they did, they would just put Sasha Banks to win the Royal Rumble just to like do something. Because four horsewomen. Naomi came. She had a rip off John Morrison spot when she had to collect herself off from the ring barricade so she can come back into the ring. She came around with a big ass afro. Didn't entice me at all. I don't know what kind of injury she nursed. I'm glad to see that she's back. Jesus, is back, and that had nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to say black for some apparent reason. Other than that, it was a fine return. Naomi returns. Beth Phoenix came up and entered at number 19, as well as Toni Storm hits at number 20, and Belair was still like beating the shit out of everybody. I think it was a back and forth, a big boot to the face of Belair, and it eliminated her. So pretty much Belair came in, and people were like patting her back. She had nothing to be. She had everything to be proud of. She had the most eliminations in the Rumble at that time, and she's still on NXT. And still to this day, she's given us the afterthought, even though she has the most eliminations maybe in Royal Rumble history. And currently, she's the number one contender for the NXT Women's title to take over Portland like in a few weeks. So this is kind of awkward booking in this decision to give her this much threat that she kind of has a chip on her shoulder. And you're telling me that she's still an afterthought over all this time. Kelly came as a surprise 2021 pick and barely did anything. She still wrestled like she was like back in the early 2010s when she was still like the perennial like top diva. Oh my god. And then she was given a big boot and then eliminated off Charlotte Flair. I mean, it was nice to see Kelly and her overly outdated theme song. Kelly. It's just bad. It's really bad. Next up, we had Natalya entering at number 23. And it was, she attempted a discus clothesline. And then I think she got eliminated with Toni Storm and Naomi. And then, no, she didn't. But she still got like a power. She helped out with a powerbomb on Charlotte Flair with the help of Beth Phoenix because they used to tag early in 2019 back at WrestleMania 35 for the women's tag title. Just stuff that you really didn't know because the women's tag titles are kind of irrelevant. They really are irrelevant. Most are like half of the belts in the main roster are irrelevant. Then at number 24, it would be Xi Lee from NXT. That, literally hit a stiff-ass roundhouse kick on an episode of NXT and made a girl bleed. Zelina Vega came at number 25. She came run automatically with a head scissors on Phoenix. And, entered with a DDT. Natalya, but Phoenix, Xia attempted to dump Charlotte Flair, but over the top. They failed again somehow. I mean, she's the tallest bitch in this ring, and she's so difficult. Beth Phoenix, I didn't even know why she's still given all this time. Like, we don't already know you're a Hall of Famer. There's nothing else to accomplish after all that time. Plus, you're already like a 3-time Divas title champion, so it really doesn't matter this current decade that you win anything. Then we had Shotzi Blackheart, the newest NXT superstar to come out. I'm like, oh, I see a lot of NXT superstars, barely anybody from the main roster. Yo, let me go over this entire list. We have 30 females, and this was such a forgettable Rumble. Shayna Baszler. I mean, the best appearance was Santina Marella. They came in, did a simple little spot. Beth Phoenix, if you didn't look back in 2008, they had an entertaining run back in 2008. They had Tegan Knox, Shotzi Blackheart, Xia Li, Toni Storm from NXT UK, Dakota Kai, Chelsea Green, Mia Yim, not Kairi Sane, no Kairi Sane, Mercedes Martinez, and Bianca Belair that had the most eliminations. This was conquered by NXT talent because they don't have any women. Even if Nia Jax did come back, it wouldn't help because still, it was a better option to just give Charlotte the win. There's nobody else that deserves this win except Charlotte. No, this was such a bland Rumble. Nobody's gonna remember any of the two women's matches because they're just gonna rip off male spots. Charlotte come eliminating Bianca Belair last, and they just ended up with her, and I think Shayna Baszler as well. So it ended up with Booze, even though I felt that was a better decision. So whoever is like the SmackDown, Raw, or NXT champion gets to face off against Charlotte. I just don't care. I don't care. In my opinion, I just don't. It doesn't really help. Next up, so for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley faced off against Lacey Evans. This feud came into a cavalcade of just backstage assaults and just Lacey Evans feeling like the perennial babyface, even though for the last several months she's been feuding. And she literally is just Emelina with a Charlotte Flair physique and barely any wrestling skill. I mean, other than the kip up, there was an elbow drop. Uh, I think they followed with a kick to the shoulder because I think she was selling. So, how about like your babyface following up on Bayley's shoulder injury and taking advantage of that? How's that babyface? She also Bayley returned with the Bayley to belly, got a near fall, and also attempted a moonsault, a springboard moonsault. That was impressive. Bayley got her feet up, grabbed her tights for a roll up victory. Why does that always happen on pay per view? It was an underwhelming match. It didn't really show how much of Bayley heelish intense other than winning by via roll up. And she had done that over her numerous title defenses, except that one time she faced off Nikki Cross before the Survivor Series. Oh god, it's such a bland run. And Charlotte just imagine she still holds it until the Rumble. Charlotte picks her and she's still a heel. It's gonna be, I guess, a breath of fresh air, but it's still Bayley versus Charlotte. It's so bland. They're not giving anybody else a push except the four horsewomen. It just shows how much WWE is so like indecisive with their way they wanna push their young talent, and it's absolutely appalling. Next up would be the best match in the show, the strap match, not a Samoan strap match, different type of match, where they're just it's like the kettlebell match that Randy Orton did with the cowbell match that Dusty Rhodes did with Randy Orton back at Great American Bash 2007. You still win off pinfall or submission. You just strapped and stuck with your opponent, so you're always in a one-on-one close advantage. The only difference, it was the Fiend, so he no sold a lot of roundhouse kicks. Daniel Bryan been carried like a rag doll and strapped a lot. He did numerous running knees and still got near falls. And so close, he even used the belt for the yes lock. It was such a physical, a cool breath of fresh air match that had to stand out. Because if they just did a random one-on-one or a false count anywhere match or just something different, I mean, just a bland street fight that's just going to end up with him getting attacked to the back, and it doesn't feel real as a real strap hitting your skin, I think it would just be a forgettable match. Daniel Bryan and The Fiend showed up and it showed The Fiend is actually being a menacing, threatening, and doesn't care to be a violent opponent, and it was a good match. I'll give it that. It was the best match on the show. Next up was, I think this was the last match. Yeah, this was the last match. Asuka versus Becky Lynch for a rematch from the previous Royal Rumble that Asuka came up short and won the best matches of the 2019 Royal Rumble. In a rematch this time, Asuka uses the green mist. Now she's a heel, and she's also one half of the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions that has been in existence for nearly a year now. It's hard that time goes so fast, and I still don't give a shit about these belts because over the time they gave it to who they thought would be a good fit for the women's tag titles, the Iconics, after Bayley and Sasha Banks won them like at Elimination Chamber. So they won at the Rumble. The Iconics held it for like 4 months. until losing them. Then Kairi Sane and Asuka won them, and they've done nothing with it. I think they only had 2 title defenses over their reign, and they've held it for maybe the second longest, and no one cares. So, Becky Lynch over a majority of this build just came from a forgettable. Uh, just I want this win. I need this win against a woman that obviously looks like I can never take seriously, other than in the wrestling ring. It was such a crappy build with her getting hit and miss to the face, and she's like, "Oh, well, I need to beat you, Asuka. I need to prove I'm the best. I'm the women's champion. I put my contract on the line for you're the women's champion. You're able to ask if you want a match against your opponent. What the fuck was this high risk? I need my contract on the line just so I can face off against a woman I didn't beat from last January. When you guys were on the same brand until the second draft happens. Asuka was on SmackDown a majority of the time or injured. You're telling me that she was ducking you for a majority of the storyline? That was the dumbest thing. And you could be like the wild card effect. So the wild card effect was in 2019. So why are we making excuses? There was still a brand split. Do you think there would be a fucking reason? Plus, how can you be ducking? And Asuka was and Becky was like busy with like Charlotte, Bayley, Lacey Evans, just a lot more women that are not Asuka. That's no sign of ducking. That's sign of you being a champion. You have bigger fish to fry before you get into the next target. That makes no fucking sense. So I just thought for a majority of this match, they were just going to do the same shit they did in 2019 with just reversals of the Asuka lock, and they did it. Ended up with a cool finish over using the disarmer. Cool way. I think there's a good top of the rope Asuka lock. They didn't do that little apron finish that they did from the apron spot from last year. Ended with both of them. I think it was like a whip off side effect. Both of them hit their asses on the apron. I thought it was a vicious spot and ended with the ref like, holy fucking shit, I think these guys nearly killed themselves. So, uh, Becky Lynch came up with a victory that didn't tell much of a story, didn't show desperation, didn't show like she learned anything from their previous fight that they had from last January. It was pretty forgettable. And then the next week on Raw, she was like, I got superpowers, so let's do it again. Because she feels so satisfied that she beat a Jap for some apparent reason, other than like the 10-time women's champion. Other than a Hall of Famer, she never like thought, I'm the man, I should challenge a Hall of Famer. What's the depiction of the man to her, other than her being the top woman wrestler on the roster? I'm being serious now. This match was fine. It wasn't better than the strap match, but the match was fine. Now we get into the creme de la creme, the main event of the evening. It would be the 30-man Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar, that already said that he was going number one because he thought nobody was worthy, even though he was coming out as WWE champion. If he just made a surprise appearance and said, I'm coming as number one to the Royal Rumble, and I will be the biggest roadblock, that would be fine. We forget that he's still coming in as WWE champion. That he won last October in under 10 seconds against Kofi Kingston and held it for several months. And Kofi Kingston was technically just a jobber with a big gold belt around him. So, yeah, I guess if Brock Lesnar won, that would be a big deal, but it's like no one cares. It was a good pick to give, I guess, Drew McIntyre a win, other than like Elias that's been in mid-card purgatory for the last several months, for the last 2 years, and Robert Roode that really hasn't done much, even though he's shown that he can literally carry a company and he has good storytelling factors. But a majority of the guys that were in the ring, he eliminated. Elias eliminated. Eric Rowan. got clotheslined and eliminated. Robert Roode, same thing, got F5'd, eliminated. John Morrison, that picked it up with a bit of speed. He didn't even recover like he usually does in the ring. He already got suplexed and eliminated. Kofi Kingston, the former WWE champion, and he got a few shots on Brock Lesnar. It looks so crap because Kofi Kingston can't actually make a strike other than a regular kick. And it ended up with him getting tossed around the top rope with his hair, getting chucked by the wind. Rey Mysterio came in at number 7 with a Batman attire. I think he did that already, though. But then he got eliminated by Brock Lesnar. Big E came, arrived at number 8, with Kofi and Mysterio trying to toss, the baby faces trying to toss on the big bad Brock Lesnar. And he chucked Mysterio, clothesline Big E out, and just F5'd Kofi to the floor. So I guess that was cool. I mean, majority of these guys I thought would stand longer, especially Elias. That's spent like majority of SmackDown giving his predictions over if he's going to win the Rumble or not. How can he stand tall after Brock Lesnar? It's like, okay, cool with a depiction. It sounds like if he sees Brock Lesnar, he's going to try to outsmart him, last long in the Rumble. If he doesn't have to eliminate him, he might have to use the guitar or something if he wants to stand a chance. And the time he came into the Rumble, he came talking shit. Lesnar already came chasing him around the Rumble until he F5'd them and shut them out. So that kind of undersold Elias' entire fucking plan to try to stand tall against Brock Lesnar. That's kind of sad. Then we had Remus. No, most of these guys were eliminated. Cesaro came in. Then Lesnar came with a knee, and then tossed him overhead. And then we got, of course, former alumni of Brock Lesnar's alma mater. It came at number 10. And then clotheslined the shit out of Shelton Benjamin and tossed him out. Shinsuke Nakamura, 2 years ago, he was a Royal Rumble winner 2018. Didn't do much off his push except a forgettable feud with AJ Styles. And then he came around trying to beat the crap out of Lesnar. Enziguri, basic kicks to the face, and trying to do that little faint ass, jittery forearm. I think he got tossed out. MVP came at number 12, made a cool ass return at number 12. He tried to chase Paul Heyman, so he doesn't intervene. He got F5'd immediately, and then eliminated. Still a cool return with the Black Panther suit. Then the person that made the whole game change, with a big ovation, Keith Lee. Now he's the current NXT North American champion. And it came off of a double clothesline spot, and then finally having a stalemate. And Brock Lesnar's run up, I think he eliminated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wrestlers. Almost beating Roman Reigns' record of 13. So, next up, Braun Strowman. Haas is out. And I think double shoulder tackled Keith Lee and Lesnar. Drop kicked. He came on with a fucking drop kick to Lesnar. And he shoulder tackled Lee to the floor, and I think to the bottom, with a clothesline from Lesnar to stop Strowman. And then Lesnar just dropped, both, I think he only eliminated Strowman. Kind of vague to remember. I didn't think of rewatching the match. Ricochet came, and as soon as he said, "I'm gonna fight Brock Lesnar," He got kneed in the gut. I didn't know if he got kneed in the dick. I am not trying to think that Lesnar's that much of a cunt. And sort off the ropes, came with, a flying clothesline, and just gave Ricochet a backbreaker. McIntyre came in as the odds-on favorite, and then he Claymore kicked Lesnar out of the Royal Rumble, out of his, like, I think 13, 12 eliminations he had in the Rumble. And you know what Ricochet did? He low blowed uh, Lesnar from what he did from before the Royal Rumble Raw. The Miz came in his 12th appearance at a Royal Rumble at number 17, and I think he got eliminated quickly off a Future Shock DDT, then a Claymore kick outside the ring. Interesting. I don't think they'll ever give Miz a push. That's so sad. Oh god, AJ Styles came in. He got injured off a spear from Edge, off a shoulder injury. He'll be gone, I think, near Royal Rumble time, at WrestleMania, or after it. Sad to hear. This is one of the other odds-on favorites to win. Then Dolph Ziggler came in. Then Carl Anderson came in at number 20. Then Edge came at number 21. Oh my god. Edge just made my dick fell off. That just blew up my entire room of just me and my little brother watching the Rumble. And you didn't know how crazy it was. He did his usual stance for the pyro. The fans were up on their feet. It was the best part of the show. And I have to say, my heart dropped. He came into the ring and immediately got camera cut as soon as he speared Dolph Ziggler. But he got not cut when he speared Carl Anderson. And then rated RKO finish near the end of the match before he got eliminated by, I think, McIntyre. King Corbin came at number 22. As soon as he speared Styles and got a shoulder injury, so he's out after Edge tossed him out. So smart idea. I don't want to see a person try to, fight into an injury. Tough for AJ. He's one of the favorites to win. Matt Riddle came in, arrived at number 23, taking off his flip flops, coming barefooted. I still have a pet peeve about that, but I think that's the least of everybody's problem that he wrestles barefoot. So did one of the Von Erichs, and that motherfucker's a Hall of Famer. So I guess there's nothing to be ashamed of. Uh, McIntyre already got a series of kicks. Corbin cut off the momentum from Matt Riddle until, you know, there was a heat, and let's get out of my TV heat. It's not good heat. I mean, yes, stopping a bit over wrestlers' momentum from a hated heel is obviously a heel thing to do, and the boos are deserved. But I don't really care about fucking Baron Corbin, so less about that the better. Luke Gallows came at number 24, joining Carl Anderson. Trying to, the thanks AJ Styles is eliminated. There's no reason for the OC to even be in there. So the Good Brothers attempted to hit a magic killer on Edge, and then partnered with Randy Orton that came up at number 5 to hit their, RKO, their combined RKO, eliminating the OC. And then Orton tried to eliminate Edge until Edge eliminated Orton. And then McIntyre, I think he hit a Claymore kick on Ziggler. Roman Reigns came out at number 26, and still boos came because obviously nobody wants to see Roman win another Rumble because he's already irrelevant in the card. He's not even in the main event picture except sometimes on SmackDown. Things are so small, and Roman really doesn't do much. And then he dumped Ziggler into the side. Yeah, he did eliminate Ziggler because they were a former tag team, and I guess that no one cared that they were a tag team on Raw. No one cared. They went into a relevant steel cage match, and no one cared. And then Kevin Owens entered at number 27, and then he hit a pop-up powerbomb on Roman Reigns, then escaped a stunner with Orton. I think he hit an RKO on Kevin Owens. Aleister Black came in at number 28. What a high number Aleister Black came in. Samoa Joe came in with number 29. And I think he hit a Kimura Lock. I think he partnered up with Kevin Owens because they have a tag team because they're feuding with Seth Rollins and Authors Pain and Buddy Murphy now. Then Seth Rollins came at number 30, the previous Royal Rumble winner. Did it really help? The AOP and Buddy Murphy came and arrived and helped eliminate Samoa Joe and Owens. I mean, I did want to reference the spot when Lana and Liv Morgan eliminated themselves, but less of that the better because no one really cared about their feud. God damn, there was just Reigns, Rollins, Corbin, and freaking McIntyre left, and McIntyre hit a Claymore kick over a reversal of Roman Reigns, eliminated Roman Reigns. He already eliminated Seth Rollins. It was it was a feel good moment. I felt like it was a good decision to give McIntyre the win because he's been settling up in somewhat main event, but somewhat mid card purgatory. And it's either give it to a bigger, new up and coming star, than you just give it to an established star that's already gonna fuck it up, like The Miz is AJ Styles, Corbin, Strowman, and now Strowman's Intercontinental Champion. I thought they were gonna give it to Elias. That would be my pick for the Royal Rumble, or just somebody that has more pull, or just somebody that's big. So they just gave it to McIntyre. That's just a better wrestler than Roman Reigns, but we'll get that below the point. So yeah, that's pretty much the 2020 Royal Rumble. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. A bonus point because Edge in MVP just made me jump off my seat. The strap match was great. Humberto and Andrade should have been in the start of the show for momentum's sakes. The Royal Rumble match was quite entertaining. The women's Royal Rumble match had a couple nice spots, especially when Mandy Rose was in, and as soon as she was nearly eliminated twice, Otis came and assisted. And I thought that was cute because they have a bit of a romance on on SmackDown, and it's entertaining. When as soon as Sonya Deville pops out, trying to help her as well, but they are both eliminated. I didn't really care about the Liv Morgan and Lana feud that they're still continuing. I'm not the biggest supporter of whoever wins the female Royal Rumble because thought it was the most irrelevant thing because most of your shit was just either just NXT women and just women that are just irrelevant in the roster, or just we know that they're not going to get much of a push, or that not that don't get that much screen time. The most surprising return was just Tamina on the main roster. Nobody else cared. People thought it was either going to be Nia Jax or somebody else, even though I think she was supposed to come like late spring of 2020. So yeah, kind of missed out on there. Yeah, it was a better idea to just give Charlotte the match, the Royal Rumble match. So I guess this was better. They gotta stop the Corbin and Roman Reigns feud. Sheamus got to be given a better feud than this. Give him the belt. Give him a belt, or just give him a storyline at least more, basic. Other than the veteran bully makes fun of a short person. Rey Mysterio had more continuity than this. Other than that, I'll give the Royal Rumble of 2020 the first pay-per-view of the year for WWE. We'll give it a 6 out of 10. That's pretty much my score. I hope you guys enjoyed my 2020 Royal Rumble review. I still have a lot more stuff to do involving WWE content. And I'll go over the XFL. I know this is late. It's already February. So enjoy this as much as you can. This will be uploaded as the best way I can, do it in my terrible scheduling in my life. But this is how it is, and I hope you guys reviewed it, liked the Royal Rumble. I hope you guys find a way to watch it, just for the sake of the Royal Rumble match or the strap match, or the Becky Lynch and Asuka match. Anything if you have missed out on the pay-per-view. So thank you for watching this DST show, and thanks.
Why, Triple H? You son of a bitch! Why? Tell me why!